What's up, everyone, and welcome back to Rob's Gaming Table. Today on the table we have another KeyForge tournament video, this time in Archon Triad. Game number 2 here from Black Knight Games in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Brought to you by these awesome folks that back the channel over at patreon.com/Rob's Gaming Table. If you'd like to support the work we do here, click the link in the description below and head on over to Patreon. Alright, so we've chosen the decks to eliminate here. This is the third game of the tournament, round 3. This is the top table. We have Matt on the left. We have Brad on the right. Brad we saw in the last video of this series. If you haven't checked out the other videos that I've been posting for KeyForge, you can check those out at Rob's Gaming Table on YouTube. They're all there in playlists. So we got a doc booked in to start on the left side there for Logos, Untamed, and Shadows. On the right side, we're Brad. We have Mars, Sanctum, and Dis. And it looks like we have a Dust Imp thrown on the board, a Key to Dis, and a Control the Weak. And I missed what he chose as his house, but I'm assuming he said Shadows. And we got a Dusk Runner thrown on Doc Bookton. That's the gives a Reap ability. You can steal 1 Amber. And now we got Mars named on the right. We got a Exili Dominator. And a Squawker thrown at him to ready him right back up. But I believe the Dominator enters play stunned. Which I think he readied him right up, took the stun off, and threw a Biomatrix backup on the Dominator. Gaining an Amber for that. Up to 4 Amber on the right, 2 Amber on the left. So this is an Archon tournament. This is, you bring 3 of your decks. Your opponent chooses 1 to eliminate of the 3 decks after looking at your deck list for 2 minutes is how we did it at this tournament. And then you have to go on, play a best of 3 and try to win with both of the decks that were not eliminated. So this is a best of 3 here we're going to watch. This is game number 1, obviously. And we have an Untamed cooperative hunting play there to do 3 damage on the Dominator. He's only going to take 2 because he has 1 armor. And we have an Ancient Bear and a Niffle Ape now on the flanks for Matt on the left there. So if you are new here and you like this KeyForge coverage, please consider subscribing. It supports the channel. It's free. Hit that little alarm bell button beside the subscribe button to be notified when future videos go up. And it looks like it's another Mars turn. And he's going to Reap with the Dominator and then pop the Key to Dis, which is an Omni, to sacrifice... Or, sorry, to sacrifice Key to Dis to destroy each creature. And he's going to archive the Dominator there off the Biomatrix backup. And it sounds like Brad thought the Dominator was going to be returned to hand off Biomatrix backup, but it actually is to the archive. So he's a little messed up his turn there. He's trying to play an upgrade, but he didn't get the Dominator back to be able to replay him again. He's actually in the archive, so you can't grab him again until the next turn if you name... Well, you can pick him after naming your house, but obviously you'd have to name Mars to play him again. So he did discard that attachment there, or the upgrade, sorry, the upgrade card that he couldn't play on a Mars creature. And his opponent has no creatures on the board, so he couldn't even attach it to that just to get the card into play to get the Amber. So we got Shadows named on the left. All he's going to do is put a bad penny into play and pass it over to his opponent. And we got Numquid the Fair coming in with the play ability to destroy an enemy creature. Repeat this card's effect if your opponent still controls more creatures than you. It's a nice way to level out the board there to come back into the game. And then we got to Protect the Weak. Played on Numquid the Fair. That creature now has +1 armor and gains Taunt. And he'll get an Amber off that, of course. And then he plays a Virtuous Works, which we saw in the last game. He has 2 in one of his decks, at least. So he gets 3 Amber off that. So it looks like he's sitting at 9 amber now. And we got Bad Penny back in play. Then we got a bait and switch here. Nice bait and switch played. So four amber was exchanged there. Now Matt on the left is at 6, ready to forge a key. On the right, now he's not forging a key next turn. So a nice little swing there. And we got Schuler coming in, who's going to steal one since Matt has more than 4 amber. And we got Dominator Bobble. So it's the battle of seeing if you can get your opponent off of check. And that seems to be happening here. So back over to Matt on the left. He is not going to be able to forge a key. He's only sitting at 5 amber now after Schuler's dirty work there. And we got an Untamed card there. It's a rare. It's an action. Gets him an amber. It's called Word of Returning. When he plays it, he deals 1 damage to each enemy creature for each amber on it. And then return all amber from those creatures to your pool. But in this case, yeah, there's no damage happening because nobody has an amber. It's basically for when a lot of capture has happened and creatures have amber on them. That's a good way to get the amber off of it and then damage those creatures. So we got Murmok in play. He is going to raise the cost of keys for Brad on the right by 1. Well, he is in play. And Matt on the left here is now in check with 6 amber. And a Raiding Knight comes in and captures 1. And Numquid the Fair there will reap for 1, putting Brad at 6 now. So they've done a good job here for the last few turns of keeping each other off of key forging. And actually, sorry, Brad is not in check, and he's 7 since Murmok is in play. Or Murmook. And we got Special Delivery coming in there, getting an amber off that artifact. That is the one you can basically sack it, deal 3 damage to a flank creature. If it destroys that flank creature, it purges it. Now, Miasma is played to get Brad off of forging a key next turn. But he already is, so he just played it, I guess, for the amber. Ooh, he's trying to take it back because he realized he has Murmook in play, so he's not on forging a key. He wants to hold it till next round. And Brad says, no, 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 no. Which is totally acceptable, I think. At least it's a card out of his hand. He still gets an amber for playing the Miasma. And we got Dominator back in play. The one that came out of the archives, I assume. Should be entering play stunned. And a Zookeeper, that's the one that can basically reap and then take the opponent's creatures and throw them in your archives. And we got Tunk coming into play. And a Combat Pheromones. It's an interesting artifact that gets an amber off that. It has the Sacrifice Combat Pheromones. You may use up to 2 other Mars creatures this turn. Oh, there, he got the stun on the Dominator there. We've corrected that. And we got a KeyForge on the left. We have our first key forged. It looks like Brad on the right is in check, has a nice juicy board of creatures. And it's got some Mars. Those Mars bodies on the board could get pretty dirty. And he doesn't even have to name Mars. He could always use the Combat Pheromones, which is an Omni on any of his turns. So let's see what Matt does here to deal with this. He's going to go Shadows, reaps with Bad Penny. And throws down a Poison Wave, dealing 2 damage to each creature. He'll get an amber off that. Bad Penny will go back to hand, obviously, and come back into play. So he's got some armor on the board, so they're gonna take some less damage here due to armor. And who's this? Selwyn the Fence, it looks like, who has the Fight Reap ability. Move 1 amber from one of your cards to your pool. So that's a good way to get some amber that you've captured from your opponent and kind of steal it. So we got Blinding Light coming in. That's going to stun all Shadows creatures from Sanctum. And it looks like a Shoulder Armor coming in here, being thrown onto Tunk, which while this creature is on the flank, it gets +2 armor and +2 power. Gets an amber for playing that one. So Brad on the right there signifies his keys by just putting a single die for each key on his faction identity Archon card, whatever they call it. So he does have 1 KeyForge now. And he's going to reap with 2 of his Sanctum guys there. His Numquid the Fair and his Raiding Knight. And I think he's debating using the Combat Pheromones right now. And he's not going to use it. I mean, he could get the stun off the Dominator, and he could use Tunk to do some good fighting. And it looks like a Ritual Balance in on the left side there. That has the action. If your opponent has 6 amber or more, steal 1. And we got the Common Cold coming in there, killing all Mars creatures. I bet Brad wish he used that Combat Pheromones last turn now. It deals 1 damage to each creature, and you may destroy all Mars creatures, and he gets an amber off the Common Cold. And now Matt on the left there is in check with 6 amber. And it looks like Murmuk died also since he took a damage. So now keys only cost 6 for Brad on the right. And we got Sanctum name there. He's using, was it Terms of Redress, I think, to capture 2 on a friendly creature. And we got 2 reaps there off the Sanctum creatures. Putting Brad at 7 amber and 1 KeyForged. So that Ritual Balance could be used here if he names Untamed. But he's going to do Logos, so we got a Wild Wormhole played here. And into a Phase Shift, so he can play 1 non-Logos card this turn. And he's going to put in Dr. Escotera, which will get him 1 amber based on the opponent having 1 KeyForged. And a Dextra coming into play, capturing 1. And a Ganymede Archivist, if I'm saying that right, who has the Reap Archive a card. And then we have a Bad Penny. Surprise, back in play. The 1 non-Logos card he's choosing to play with Phase Shift that turn. So we got Shield of Justice there, making friendly creatures not take damage for the rest of the turn, getting an amber off that. So he did forge his 2nd key now. Brown right now is at 2 keys. So he has 2 Sanctum creatures on the board. He can definitely fight with both of them. I'm assuming this would be a better turn where he could use that Combat Pheromones, but obviously doesn't have any Mars creatures anymore. That's a good combo in the deck using Shield of Justice for that. So Dextra goes to the top of the deck there. He gets an amber back off the capture. And Numquid the Fair for 3. Sorry, 3 attack. Or 3 power he has, so he can destroy a few creatures there. But he chooses to kill the Ganymede Archivist. Never mind. He doesn't know how to use combat pheromones. He's trying to sack it to play 2 Mars cards, but it's actually use. Yeah, he realized he misread it. He just said he would have used it a long time ago. That explains why he didn't use it on that turn. It's all making sense now. That's too bad. All right, so Matt there is now forging his second key, so we are tied at 2 keys. 1 amber, though, on the right. And we got Dr. Escotera attacking for 4 against the Raiding Knight. Has 2 armor, so he's going to take 2. And then he throws a special delivery at him to do 3 more damage and purge that creature. And Dexter's back. Gaining me Archivist. And he's going to do a Sloppy Lab Work, which will allow him to archive a card and discard a card. And we got a Mind Bar played on the disc side of things. So he's going to discard a card at random from the hand. Gets an amber off that. Which hopefully he remembers to take. Oh, no, he did take it, yeah, because Dexter captured that amber last turn. Gets a Troop Call. And plays a Control the Weak. Name's Untamed this time. So he's going to force Matt to play Untamed next turn. Which we know, I think he has Chozo, or Chodo Hazri, or however you say it, in hand, I think I saw. Now we got some reaping happening there. Dominator Bobble used to use Numquid the Fair on the disc turn to get an extra amber. And now we have a Gateway to Disc. Gaining 3 chains, destroy all creatures. And some amber return there that was captured earlier. So now Brad is sitting on 5 amber, 2 keys. Getting close. And Matt is on 2 keys and 4 amber. And sounds like he discarded Hand of Disc there. Hey, passes. So being told with Control the Weak to play Untamed, Matt chooses to play nothing. Or maybe has nothing. And he can't use his Ritual Balance in play since the opponent doesn't have 6 or more amber. So he definitely, if he has Chodo Hazari in hand like I thought I saw, he doesn't want to play him because he'll just lose an amber. And it looks like Brad's just going to play 2 actions that don't do anything. I think it's Squawker and then Mass Abduction, which puts 3 damaged enemy creatures into your archives, but that's not happening since there's no enemy creatures on the board. That does put him at 7, and he passes over to Matt. He takes his archive, which was a Miasma, and stalls out Brad for another turn, gets an amber off that. And he's going to play Lights Out for an amber. No enemies on the board to put back into hand. And Bad Penny in play, sitting on 6 amber. And now Sanctum on the other side. And he plays that Sanctum action there that you get an amber for each creature your opponent has in excess of your creatures. But looks like that was it. I think Matt had no way to stop him there. I'm not sure who won that actually, but we're now into game 2. But I think Matt did win there because he had enough amber and there was no way Brad could take him off of it. It looks like Matt on the left now is using a new deck, has Logos, Untamed, and Dis. And it looks like Brad is playing the same deck. He's got Mars, Sanctum, and Dis. And now has Tunk on the board. And we got on the other side now we have Mother and a Gaining Meter Archivist. And we got Mars name, Tunk coming in, fighting the Ganymede Archivist. And then he's using a Squawker there to ready a Mars creature. And now we got a Reap with Tunk. And another Squawker readying Tunk. And he's going to fight Mother, and they'll take each other out.
I had to think, which order do I want to do this? Go ahead. But this is when I'm going to draw OP Mars cards to be like, let's go with 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, what's that one? It's the one where I can get any card.
So we have Untamed on the left. We got a Dust Pixie coming in, getting 2 Amber, and then a Nepenthe Seed, which is that Omni. He can pop and get any card out of the discard pile back to hand. On the other side, we have a Sanctum Raiding Knight coming in, capturing 1. And Sergeant Ezekiel coming in, or readying up the Raiding Knight. He will fight the Dust Pixie and smash that little fairy. And we got Dextra coming in, doing what he does, capturing an Amber. We got Doc booked in. And over to Brad on the other side.
One of those situations where it's like, none of the cards really do anything for me this turn. But do I want to name it? I'm going to name Sanctum.
So we got Sanctum named here. He's going to do the capture 2 on a friendly creature. And a couple Reaps. And puts him up to 5 Amber. And it sounds like Brad's not liking his hands, having a little trouble. Drawn into some cards that'll do much for him. But he still is ahead. 5 to no Amber right now. And Doc Bookton's going to Reap, get an Amber, and then draw a card. And we got a Reap with a Dexter. And we have a Mind Barb. Discarding a card at random out of hand, getting an Amber off that. And grabs an Arise. But anything going in the discard pile can be grabbed with that Nepenthe Seed. And we got to control the weak. Naming Untamed. So Matt is going to have to name Untamed next turn. And sits at 7 Amber, passes it over to Matt, who has to name Untamed. So we have a Nocturnal Maneuvers, gaining an Amber, exhausting up to 3 creatures. And that's going to be it. So another good control of the weak. Really slowing down Matt's progression here. And we have our first KeyForge there by Brad on the right, using that single die. And we have a Virtuous Works played for 3 Amber. And he was trying to ready those Sanctum creatures, but they were already exhausted from the previous round, so they didn't get to do anything there. So we have a Logos name. We got Doc Bookton doing the Reap and drawing a card that she does best. We got a Pocket Universe put into play. That's you can move Amber from your pool to Pocket Universe as an action, and then you can spend it to forge keys. We have a Titan mechanic put on the flank. That's going to reduce the cost of keys for both players by 1 Amber. So right now it's 5 Amber to forge a key. And that just so happens to be what Matt has left himself sitting at the end of the turn. Over to Brad, who only has 4 amber on his card there. But he still is in the lead with 1 key forged. So it sounds like his name is Sanctum again. He's going to fight with Sergeant Ezekiel. And he's going to die fighting the Type Mechanic, and the Type Mechanic takes 4 damage. And it looks like he wanted to kill his creature there so he could play that action where he gains 1 amber for each creature your opponent has in excess of you. So we got 2 extra amber off that. And we got a Reap off the Raiding Knight. So he has 7 amber. Passes it over to Matt to forge his first key.
Because even if I killed it, you would have got 2 more amber and still forged. So it was one of those where it wasn't worth it. I'd rather force you to get the amber this turn by killing it, or just raping for 3 instead of getting 2.
So we got Logos again. His name in Doc Bookton, reaping and drawing a card. Dextra's gonna reap. The Type Mechanic's going to fight the Raiding Knight and take each other out. And he'll get 2 amber back that was captured on the Raiding Knight. And he moves on to Pocket Universe. And we have a second key forged on the right. Is Brad going to be able to win this one and bring it on to game 3? He does have a decent lead here so far. He does have a completely empty board, though. We have Tunk coming into play, getting readied up with Squawker. I think you just fight Doc Bookton at this point. Yes, if you're going to choose. Because you know Dexter's just going to come back and be annoying. Unless you can use that last amber to forge a key. And we have Mass Abduction. Put up to 3 damaged enemy creatures into your archives. If any of these creatures leave your archives, they are put into the owner's hand instead. So it's not doing anything right now. He's just getting amber off of it. And we have a Caller of Subordination played to take control of Tunk out of Dis there. And a Life Word, which is an Omni, can be sacked to make your opponent not be able to play creatures on the next turn. And a Mind Barb getting an amber and doing a random discard from the opponent's hand. And grabs a copy of Charette. Nice pull there. And that's going to be it. Over to Brad. And he's going to play a Gateway to Dis here, gaining 3 chains, destroying all creatures. And puts a Key of Dis on the board. Another way to reset the board. And Schuler's going to come in and steal 1 since the opponent's at 4 or more amber. And we have Gone Goozle played. Gets him an amber off that. And I believe that one deals 3 damage to a creature. If it's not destroyed, its owner discards a random card from their hand. Gets a shoulder armor there. And pops Life Word, so Brad can outplay creatures on his next turn. And then another Caller of Subordination to take Schuler. And he's going to reap with Schuler, putting himself at 6, ready to forge that second key. If I was Matt there, I may have popped that Nepenthe Seed, but I don't know what else he has in the deck, but just to get that life ward back right there, and then put it immediately back in play to gain an Amber and have it ready to pop the next turn. To try to stall out Brad from being able to play creatures and get things done.
Yeah. I'm just gonna play Blinding Light, Stunning, naming disc.
So Blinding Light to gain an Amber, stunning all disc creatures.
Go to 6, putting you in check. Don't really want to play that on your creatures, so I pass and draw 2. Going down to 1.
So looks like forging the second key here for Matt. But does he have a way to get Brad off of forging a key next turn and winning this?
Unless the card states otherwise. Well, if it says you have to use that one first, then you have to use it. It doesn't? Okay.
Oh, he could grab a Dextra out of the pile there and put him into play to capture one
That guy,
to buy him an extra turn.
key a disc to nullify what I did.
Yeah, Nepenthe Seed to get Dextra is not the best. Desperate times call for desperate measures. And he captures one to get him off forging a key. And he discards a bouncing Death Quark. And we got Sanctum named on the other side. Terms of Redress, just to play for the single Amber.
Play Protector. Upgrade on him.
He's going to play Protect the Weak on Dextra just to gain an Amber. And then he's going to destroy all creatures using the key to dis.
Up to 4 chain.
Not a bad play.
Thinking I was playing something else.
Put himself at 7 Amber. Maybe 8 there.
Drawing 2.
I think it looks like 8 Amber. So he's definitely in check. Passing over to Matt. Can he, that sounds like it's it. So we are going on to a game 3.
But I'm like, if he has one steal thing, I'm not gonna get the key.
Well, I had another Dexter, but
Yeah, but
you went above 6, so
yeah, that's what I was waiting for.
All right, so Matt on the left is playing the same deck he just played in the last round. Now Brad has switched to his second deck. Dis, Untamed, and Shadows. My favorite 3 factions in a deck together, I think. Maybe. Yeah, I think it's my favorite. Dust Pixie to start. And on the other side, another Dust Pixie and a Niffle Ape. I see your Dust Pixie and raise you a Niffle Ape, says Matt. And then we got Shadows. We got a Moon Cruiser, Shadow Self, and a Bullet Eye. I think that is. Bullet Eye is elusive, has Reap, destroy a flank creature. Moon Cruiser has Skirmish and Poison, Fight, steal 1 Amber. And we all know Shadow Self doesn't deal damage when fighting, and any damage dealt to his non-Spectre neighbors will go on him instead. On the other side, we now have a Logos turn, gaining me an Archivist, Twin Bolt Emissions,
All damage dealt to non-specters go to him. So that's 4 to him.
and all that damage from Twin Bolt Emissions is going to go on Shadow Self to prevent him from sniping those creatures, and a Bat Drone in play, and a Fogify, saying Brad can't fight with creatures on his next turn.
Because of that, I'm gonna have to name Untamed. Nocturnal Maneuver.
So Nocturnal Maneuver to exhaust 3 creatures, up to 3 creatures, and gain an Amber.
Reap 1.
And we have the Dust Pixie doing a Reap there to gain an Amber.
Play Ink of the Spider.
And Ink of the Spider coming in and play, dealing out a stun to the Dust Pixie. So we got Dis named on the other side. We got a Toxin. Or no, that's a Schuler. Sorry, Schuler If your opponent has 4 or more, steal 1. Got to control the weak. It's going to name Dis.
So I have to pick this? Yeah. Have you drawn up? Okay, we'll start off with you must pay 1 if you're playing. I'm not going to be tapping.
And sorry, there's a... Who is that guy? That's Tentacus. Your opponent must pay you 1 amber in order to use an effect. And then beside him another Schuler. Doing a steal, and then a Mind Barb, getting a random discard out of hand. So being controlled the weak into Dis here, not too bad for Brad. He has lots of discards, looks like, to play out of hand anyway. And grabs a tight mechanic on that Mind Barb. Still have not reached our first key here for this game 3. There's that Neppen Seed, and an Ancient Bear, and a Scout action play for the remainder of the turn. Up to 2 friendly creatures, gain skirmish, then fight with those creatures 1 at a time. So Batron and Schuler are going to gain skirmish. So he should have to fight with them right now. But he gets the Sun off Dust Pixie there. Schuler will fight Shadow Self, killing Shadow Self. So it didn't really matter to have skirmish to fight Shadow Self since he doesn't deal damage in fighting. And Niffle Ape is going to fight. So he's doing things a little out of order. He's supposed to fight with that Batron. But he fights with the Niffle Ape. And that ignores Elusive. So it gets the Bullet Eye off the board. And then Ink of the Spider gets smashed by the Batron. And then he'll do a fight, steal 1. And now up to 6 amber for Matt, who's in check. Over to Brad, who's been stolen out of forging a key right now. And he goes with Dis, and we got Charette coming into play. Who will capture 3 and keep Matt off from forging a key next turn. And there's Toxin, who has Reap. Your opponent discards a random card from their hand. And he's going to Reap with Schuler and Tentacus there to gain 2, putting himself in check for 6. And we have a Rise. Going to name Shadows. Get Bullet Eye and Shadow Self back. And gain a chain off of that. So I think Brad's just forgotten to ready up his 2 disc creatures there. And it sounds like Matt's going to say Logos. We got Batron fighting Moon Cruiser. That skirmish doesn't take any damage back. Steals 1. Ganymede Archivist reaping for his 5th amber. And he'll get to archive a card off of that. And Pocket Universe put into play. And Dexter coming into play, capturing 1. Keeping Brad off of forging a key again. Both opponents doing a great job here of stopping their opponent from forging that first key. And Neppen Seed pop there to get back Fogify. Gets the amber off that and will stop his opponent from fighting with creatures next turn. And puts himself in check for 6. Over to Brad. So Ghostly Hand for 2 amber. Won't steal any because your opponent has to have exactly 1 to steal with Ghostly Hand. And Bullet Eyes back into play. Shadow Self's back into play. I maybe would have put Shadow Self beside Charette there just to help protect that captured amber. But he threw in a Dodger there on the flank, followed by a Carlos Phantom, who has Elusive Skirmish, and each time you play an artifact, steal 1. Look at this board. Oh, boy.
And I lose my anything else because you killed all my shadows.
So we have our first key forged. And unfortunately, now Brad's Archon card is now off the screen. So we're going to try to track here. See if we can track his keys being forged.
Though I misplayed cards.
Which is too bad. It happens sometimes.
No, sorry. Yeah, 6 amber.
Sounds like he's at 6 amber.
So if you name logos, you stop. But yeah. At least you are card.
Yeah, it sounds like he's on 6 amber. And he's saying to his opponent if he names logos, he'll be able to use that bat drone again to steal one and keep him off forging a key. But it sounds like Matt's not sure he wants to keep naming logos right now. And he's going to name Dis, take his archive. 2 Collar of Subordinations. To swing the board in his favor. He grabs Toxin and Tentacus.
That's actually a good move, even if that's all you do.
And throws a life ward down. Gets an amber off of that.
At random?
And he's going to reap with Toxin, getting an amber, discarding a card at random out of the hand, grabs a Niffle Ape. And Schuler and Tentacus are going to reap also there, getting 4 amber.
I'm gonna do what I can, okay? First thing I did, I'm gonna play Hidden Stash.
So we have Hidden Stash, gaining an amber, and then I think archiving a card there is what that does.
Oh, I got a key. Yeah, that's what's throwing me off. I expected you to steal.
Oh yeah, we do have a KeyForge, so I think we're at 1-1.
Since I already named
Since he did not steal last turn.
he can't fight. He's gonna fight the bad drone. Steal 1.
So Dodger fights, killing Batrone, steals 1.
I need to end a 2 damage dealt to him, gets dealt to him.
And Shadow Self will take the hit back from the fight the Dodger did there.
Flank creature, which is 1.
And Bullet Eye is going to reap, gaining an amber, and destroying a flank creature. He's going to kill his own Toxin there.
Gonna reap with both of these.
And we got a reap with Carlos Phantom and Shadow Self.
Then I'm gonna play Pawn Sacrifice.
And we got a Pawn Sacrifice, gaining an amber. He's going to sack the Dust Pixie, deal 3 damage to 2 different creatures.
Him, getting my amber back.
Dextra gets an amber back, throwing Dextra on the top of the deck. And it sounds like he's at check now with 6 that we can't see at the top of the screen there.
I know if I don't hit an Untamed guy, you're just gonna name Untamed on your next turn.
I think he hits the Niffle Ape here. I think that's where you go. Getting that Niffle Ape off the board. Just try to reduce his numbers of Untamed. I mean, you could hit the Ganymede Archivist, but
Figure it out.
he's just got 3 Untamed on the board. And only 1 Logos creature. Yeah, Niffle Ape I think is the best call there. I mean, you could do the Dust Pixie, but Niffle Ape I think is more powerful right now, hitting elusive creatures. Or being able to ignore elusive and taunt.
I hope I hurt you a little bit. After, you stole 2 of my creatures. Yeah. Double reap.
So we have disnamed on Matt's side there. He does 2 reaps. And he's going to play Gongoozle. Deal 3 damage to a creature if it's not destroyed. The owner discards a card out of hand. He's going to do it to Shadow Self for 3, bringing him up to 5 damage. 4 away from eliminating that Shadow Self.
In this hand, I don't want to.
And putting himself on check with 6 amber.
This one? No.
And gets an Umbra on the discard.
Down my turn next turn.
And we have a Gateway to Disc. Gaining 3 chains, destroying all creatures.
Oh, destroy everything.
And he gets 3 amber back off of the Charette. And pops Life Ward after the Gateway to Dis. And we have second KeyForge now for Brad on the right. So he throws a Dominator Bauble into play. And passes since he can't play creatures thanks to the Life Ward.
That was one way to tie it up, man.
And now Matt will forge his second key.
If it wasn't for the fact that I got my
And still have 3 amber remaining. So we have Untamed, throws an Ancient Bear into play, plays Regrowth. Most likely to get a Dust Pixie.
oh, come on, ancient bears, ancient bears.
And it is the Dust Pixie to gain 2 amber. And being at 6, which is check for his third key. Does he have any more ways of gaining amber? He is going to do it. Play a Vigor to just gain an amber. And pass over his opponent with check and draw 1 less card due to his chains there.
You made me have to go and discard cards that I can't use. No, you know what? Pawn sacrifice for nothing.
And Pawn Sacrifice, gaining an amber. He's playing Shadows. Does he have a way to steal? He's going to capture 3 with old Bruno, stopping Matt from forging.
Yeah, I'm done after that.
So Matt's going to go Untamed, Reap with the Dust Pixie, fight with the Ancient Bear. Oh, sorry, it's a fight with both of them to get through old Bruno. And that's going to be it. So congrats to Matt. Matt wins it there. Brad has no way to stop him. So that was a pretty cool best of 3, really close. And thanks a lot for watching, guys. If you want to see more KeyForge, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit that like button on these KeyForge videos, and share them around on social media. Feel free to leave comments below. Let me know if you have any questions or any constructive criticism. Always be appreciated. If you want to donate, click the link in the description below. Thanks for watching.